Hey guys, welcome back to everyone, and let's continue with some more powerful concept in this journey of microservices, right? So what we are going to do today, guys, there's some more very interesting concept and very commonly used in the microservices world we are going to discuss, right? So let me directly jump to the concept, what we are going to do, okay, in this microservice journey, okay? So very quickly, even though guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the same project what I used and created yesterday. Okay, in this project, we have to do some new thing to be added. Okay, so in the last class, we have built the project, okay, that manage something for the student databases, and we expose our method as a REST API or the API. So client can execute and access our information. So this code, guys, we have built in my last class, right? And it was working fine, and we expose multiple functionality with the help of framework known as Quarkus. Okay, but the way we write the code, thing was working great. But the way we write the code is not the perfect way. It's not the standard way. Okay, we have to do much more thing. Okay, to make this code more, clean or more useful in the real world. So what I mean by this. So let me explain you what we are going to do today. Before this, I want to give one very basic concept. Those who know programming language and those who know object-oriented programming, let's say they know, if you guys know Java. Okay. So what normally, guys, in some programming language, our motto is finally to create the app. App is like a one big complete software. Okay. And in one app, there's a multiple different program files. So we have program file number 1, then doing something for you. There's a program file number 2, there's program file number 3, there is something for you. All the program file doing something for you, and everyone work together somehow and create a complete website or web app or mobile app, something like this. Okay. In the Java world, this program file, okay, is mostly sometimes also known as the way we write the code in this program file is in a way of class. So you can think class is like a program file. It's not exactly, but just take it a simple way that this is our second class we have, and this is our third class we have. Okay. Now, if you very quickly explain you a little bit about the class, again, this is not the Java training, but class is something like this, where we create a plan, what we want to manage in this class. Okay. It is also known as a blueprint. Means in this class, I want to, we are just planning, we're not storing anything. We are planning that in this class, I want to store the name of the student. I would like to store the ID of the student. I would like to store the phone number of the student. Okay, so this is mostly known as the attribute or the property or the variable. Okay, sometimes also known as data member. Okay, plus at the same time, because these variables are going to store the data. So in this variable, you want to operate something. Okay, so maybe you want to get the name, change the ID, change the phone number. So on those data, we'll do some operations. Okay, and those operations we write with the help of methods and the functions. So functions are the method who help us to operate something on this data. Okay, so this plan we do, what can we want to operate? For example, maybe I want to do something like this. After we create the ID, I don't want to change the ID. So whenever first time somebody come up, we can store the ID. But we don't allow to change the ID. Okay, so we can create a function for this, or don't create the function for this to set the ID. But we can change the phone number. We can change the name. So depend upon the method of like a functionality, what you want to do. Okay, so this entire plan is called blueprint. It is known as class. After we do this plan, when a new student come up, let's say Jack come up, we say Jack, oh, because you look like a student, not our employee, not our customer. You look like a student. So we will use and fill your information based on this plan or this class. So I'll take your name, take your ID, take your phone number. Okay. And how we store this name, where we store this name, we have the method for this. We store in the file, we store in the RAM, we store in the databases. We have a function for this who will fill these information in some of their respective areas. Okay. So in that context, Jack, whoever want to use this class are known as objects. So those you know already. Okay. But in the older world of Java, where it was known as POJO, plain object, plain old Java world, POJO, right? This look like POJO world. Okay, it is known as objects. But in today's world, due to some point where some standard plans, this class will do some changes. Okay, what are those? That's not important. Then nowadays, all right. Again, this is a rough explanation here, but we'll do some standard plans here. Okay, standard plans here, and now instead we use the word object, we can use the word called bean. It's called Java bean. Why we have this? It is not important. We are not the Java training, and what extra things we have to do. Again, it is not any extra thing. Okay, but object is mostly like a Java or Java bean, so they are almost same. There's some difference obviously, but this, let's say it's the same. Okay, so why I'm discussing this point, we're going to use somewhere this term. That's all. You don't have to know much about it, and this is not the perfect difference I've explained to you, but I think this is the simplest way I can give some insight. Okay, now one more thing I want to add. Okay, it means, what is class explained to you? It means if you have 3 program file, 3 different classes we have. This is a different blueprint, there are different plan, there's a different plan. Different plans we have. Okay, so let's say we have one class over here. Okay, let me give class in this file. Okay, let's say this class name may be student class. Okay, and what we have in this class, let's say with the help of this class we can take the student name, or in this class we have some function. So we have a function, let's say function name is called get name, is a one function name or method name. I'm using this way. Okay, so this class will help me to store the name in this variable. Okay, and if I want to retrieve the name, we have this function. We can use this function to retrieve the name of that particular object. Okay, so we have this class, plan, blueprint created, and this code is written in this file. This is also known as class file or Java code. Okay, now we have one more class. Okay, let's say program number 3. We also create one class here. We also create one class here, and in this class, what we want to do, we want to again create a class, but here the class is for student. But in this class, the motto is this class we would like to use to plan something for a student, or we plan something to share the information about the student. Okay, let's use the name called share class. Okay, and what information I want to share? Maybe I want to share the information something like this. Okay, if somebody come to this class, we have fun function. Okay, and function would be function name is like all student. We write one function here, one method here. Okay, and anyone who use this class, they can use this method, and this method has a capability to retrieve all the students somewhere from the database, wherever we have this information. Okay, now how we can call this function, there's a different point. Okay, either we can call the function locally in the same computer, okay, in the same computer from the main function, all right, or we can call this function with the help of APIs. How? We have explained you. We can give this function a path. Okay, let's say path will be, let's say, all, what we used in my last class. We can call the function this way. Okay, in this way. Now, point here is, what I'm trying to tell you here is, for example, okay, for example, let's say this class also have one function. Let's say a function name called get all. Okay, get all function. Okay, so in this first program file, this function already have, and we already have a code. Sorry, code written who know how to fetch all the students from somewhere. Okay, so here this is just a plain Java code. Okay, like a Pojo. Okay, managing the information, having the method, something like this. Okay, but we would like to plant some more thing. Let's say you can think in this way. Till now in a company, your application has one single program file. Okay, one single program file. So same program file, we're getting the information, we have method, and we are storing everything locally. Okay, so everything is managing locally. There's no API, there's no REST API and other things. But now company want to extend, okay, their plan, and they say, now let's do one thing. The functionality of this function, or let's functionality of this method, let's extend. Let give somebody a way so that they can be used by outside, by API. Let's expose this function. Okay, for this, what can you do? There's two methods. One method is whatever your code, your older code you have already. This is the older code. Program number 5, sorry, program file number 1. Just go and change the code there. How? By putting the annotation, all the things what we did in my last class. So you guys, if you remember the way I did, you know how I did. Let's say this is the older code I had. If you just focus on this part, let me properly format. Okay, this is the older code you have. Okay, when we call this function, okay, call this function. Wait a minute, guys, let me increase the font. So when we call this function, they will tell me the total number of students we have. But after this company feel that no, what I want this function to be exposed by the APIs. So I come to the main file. This is always working in my system. Then I start adding those annotations. Okay, so that now this function also been exposed. Okay, sometimes it's not, maybe not the better practice to whatever the code already working, tested code, and you can go to the same code and start putting the annotation and start exposing this code. So the better way would be we can create a separate file. Let's say class number 3, file number 3, or maybe 2, what does not matter. So we create one more program file. Okay, and this program file, okay, we use only for one purpose. Okay, whatever the functionality available here, get name, get all. Okay, this class, our ultimate motto is whatever functionality available, let's say get all. So in this function, let me write here. in this class, I'll create one more function. Let's say, it does not matter. Let's say get student, all the students. This function I create. And inside this create, whenever we call this function, they will call this function. We get all is already created. Already created. So why there's no good in to create the code again? And we'll return this code or return this function. Okay. So why we are doing this? Because I don't want to do anything in this file. First of all, I don't want to add anything here. Why I want to add? We're going to expose this code. I don't want to do this because this code is already running, working fine. And I'm happy with my older way of writing the code, like a Pojo kind of thing. I'm happy with this. But same time, I also want to extend my capability. I want to add the REST APIs and many more things, many more functionalities maybe. Okay. For this, I create a new file, like a new file. Create a new class. Why? Because in Java, everything you have to put in the class only. This is one of the way you can think of. And here in this class, the main thing is I will create a new function, new method. Why? Because when we call this function, they will call this function, and this function already been created. So we call it. So what the output of this function? There's already tested. They give all the function. So this function will give all the information to you. But why I recreated this function? Because now in this function and on the top of this function, we can annotate. Whatever annotation we want to write here, we can write here. We can annotate. Okay. So all the facility what we have learned till now and we will learn in the future. Okay. We can add those functionality extensions very easily without touching your actual running tested code by adding one more class. Again, this concept is mostly just a big kind of plan. Sometimes it's also known as refactoring. So we are refactoring our code by adding new functionality by this approach. Your approach may be different. Okay. So I just want to give this a quick insight. The point here is this function I want to use that is already created in other file, other class. Okay, other class. How we can call this function here? Okay, or in the simple term, how can we inject this function here? Because this class or this program file, if you want to come, not come with class word, this program number 3. Okay, purpose of program number 3 is to add APIs, more feature on the previously existing thing. Okay, so this thing is there in other file. Okay, my point here is in the file number 3, how can we use this function? How can we call this function? How we can inject? Because for this perspective, in this class number 3, class number 1 is they're dependent on. So how we can this dependency? How can we dependency, right? How can we inject here? Okay, for this there might be multiple way. Okay, for this, okay, what can we do? Okay, this class, okay, this class, we can make in such a way that this class we can be explore, or we can kind of searchable and can usable from other classes. So anything in this class, any function in the class that can be used in other classes, something like this you want to do. For this, what do you have to do? For this class, you have to make this class, okay, change the older way into the newer way. Okay, this is called beans. To convert this class into the bean. The Java bean, it is also known as enterprise Java beans. or any class that enter by Java means there can be, or their resources or their functionality can be injected very, very easily in other classes. Okay. Many more things there. This is a very rough definition because this is not Java classes, and I believe most of the guys might not be Java developer, or they might not know the advanced Java enterprise EE, Java EE, something like this. So it's not a perfect definition, but I think this gives them an idea what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, so guys, here we are talking more about if you already have some application running in the company in Java, we have to refactor it. We have to convert slowly. We have to migrate into the microservices world. Okay, so we have to take a lot of steps on it. Okay, one step is just give a different responsibility, different files. Okay, whatever files you already have, don't change anything. Or whatever extra thing you want to expose here. Expose here. Okay, from this file. So what I'm going to do, do here right now. Okay, let me give a better name for these guys so I can relate very, very simply what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to do, okay, I'm going to give a name here. So in the last class, we have want to do something on the student or student databases, something like this. Okay, so now the plan is something like this. Let's say, okay, a student has one class where we create a plan, blueprint. Okay, blueprint. So the good practice is always create a separate file for this. That is mostly known as student.java. Okay, where you just keep your plan and other things. Other thing means your what kind of method they support, and other things means like variables. Okay, so they have this just a class. Okay, and mostly this class normally contain constructors also, through which we can dump the data on it. Okay, so what I'm talking about, the way I created yesterday, so we create a separate class for this. So this is a plan, right? So if you see here, it's just a class, okay, only contain the variables or properties that if somebody use student, we just take the ID, take the name, and plus they have a constructor, means we'll use this function to feed this data in this way. So this is a plain basic Java code. Maybe you can think it's a kind of older style, or can say Pojo. So we'll keep this guy as it is. Okay, so we create the file with student, and let me do one small change here to sync with me what I'm writing here. Let me change this file name. Okay, I'll change it in a minute. We'll change the file name so the thing will be synced. But now what we'll do, okay, in this class, okay, we create a separate file for this, and I'm giving this file a name student. Okay, repository class. The Java file, this file we are going to create. What it contains. Okay, whenever new object come up, like if a new student come up, like Jack, Tom, all the things. Okay, Tom is one student, Jack is one student, Eric is one student. So we'll get this information and store. Or because we are storing this information, so what is for us? What is this? Is a student repository, right? So in this class, we'll only manage the information about the way about how we're managing the repository of the student. Means how we take this information, okay, where we store this information, from where we get the information. Okay, so it's something like this. if somebody as a Tom come, so I will create one method for this or function for this. Let's say store student or set student, whatever the method you have. So Tom information we can store by this way. Okay. Or maybe anybody come up and say, I want to get the student details. So get function we can write here. Who will go somewhere and database maybe get the information about the Tom or Jen. Okay. So this class, okay, we are using only for doing something on the data. This is class, guys, is a template, right? So this is only for that. I know they use the word template, blueprint, plan. That's all. Okay, this is a plan. So like a normal class or normal, I can use the word called Pojo here, means just a plain object, or means planning. Okay, let me use the word Pojo. No, I don't want you to confuse. Okay. But this file, we create a separate file only to managing the repository things. Get things, set things, CRUD operation, what I'm talking about. So all the CRUD operation, sorry, we do from here. Or let's say till now, this is what we have. Okay, in our existing application. We don't have an API. We don't have anything about microservice, neither REST API. Okay. These are the things we have. Again, this is a normal standard name we use in the market, right? So in the standard, the entire planning we put in the separate file. All the things that we want to do and operate on the data, there's called data management. We do normally put in the file called repository. This is standard name mostly we use in the market. Okay, no compulsory, but that's what we use. But till here, there's no REST API or the thing. So let me convert my code in this way, the way normally we have in the market. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay, let me copy this code, put it to my notepad as a backup copy. Okay, I'm changing this file name, okay, to right click from here. File name is this one. So this one, right click and rename. I want able to see the rename. Oh, come on. Where's the rename? Oh, wait. Should be here, right? Come on, I don't know. It's here only, right? Rename, right? So student, I'm just giving you this name. Student repository. Okay. So where we're moving, guys, is very important topic, what we are going to discuss. But I'm just trying to first convert our code into the standard way. Okay, then you understand what we and where we're moving. So repository, right, .java, I'm giving a file name. Okay, and you guys know what a file name you give. Okay, same class name you have to give. So this is my class name. And let's say we don't have anything about, nothing about your REST APIs. This is a plain code. Okay, it's just a plain code. This is just a plain code. So no REST APIs. Okay, plain code. And then we also rename this file also. This file, we had drawn the diagram, is just a student.java. Okay, And same thing I'm just applying here. Let me rename this class name also. Okay. And because we are calling something here and there, okay, so here also we are using. So now it's just great. Okay. And maybe we are calling this class name there. So I change the file name or the class name. So let me change in my code. In this code also. Okay. So this is pure code or pure Java. Anybody know a little bit Java? This is what we normally write, or I will explain to you. So now this class is like a blueprint, only the plan, what we want. Okay, in this class, this is the first file according to the diagram. Okay, in this file, in this file, it is what? Oh my guys, in this file, what we are doing, we're dealing with the data. Okay, we get all the stored from database or somewhere else. Okay, we'll count the data, we'll search the data. It is about data. So I say repository means we have a repository data somewhere, I hard coded, but somewhere coming, and we are doing over here. Okay, now plan is, okay, now this project we want to migrate to, okay, we have to migrate to API's world, or we want to add some more functionalities on it. Okay, so for this, rather than we write a code here the way I did yesterday, so it was working fine. Rather we do this and touch this pre-existing code or pre-existing application, right? What can we do? Okay, we can create a separate program file for this. Okay, one more file we can create for this. Okay, let's say this file would be whatever name would be. Okay, let's say the file would be student. Well, let me give you the name that mostly we use in the market. It's called resource. So I'm using the word resource here. It could be any name, but I'm using the resource. I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, this file name I give, this class name I can create. Okay, now this class, what we will do, for example, I have this function called count all student function. Okay, so this class motto is, if somebody, okay, come to my system on /count path, we're going to expose as a REST API. Okay, then I have to provide the count. Okay, but for counting, we already have the function available. Where? Here in this file. Let's say the function is called count function. This code we already have. They know how to kind of database, how to fetch the data from some MongoDB and somewhere else and count it. So this function is already available. So why don't you utilize this function? Okay, so this what can they do? They will use the same function, or they inject the same function is there in this file. But to call any function, mostly to manage, we always put the function other function, right? Let's say the function name may be find count or some random name I'm giving here. So we call this function. So we create this function. Inside this we create one more function, and we ask this function to return. Why I'm doing so? Okay, why I'm not calling this function directly? Because I want this function to be called by other function. Why? Because from this function we have a capability to annotate with get, post, path, produce, all the things we can easily annotate. That is the reason we are creating a separate file for this. Okay, so in this file we can get any function with any name, does not matter. Okay, maybe same name also. Okay, why we create? So whatever extra facility we want to extend, in this case we want to set the REST API or maybe security. So guys, where we go for advanced part in the microservices, we'll talk about the authentication part, OAuth part, security part, resource our big part, many more things. Okay, so extension would be very simple because of annotation and the Quarkus framework. But okay, mostly when you annotate and add more functionality, we need always the function because we annotate around the function. But in this function, okay, you will find most of the capabilities and method is already there in some other file. So why don't you create again? Let's go and use it. Okay. So how can we use the pre-created function? And there's one more from what I want to add here is one more reason why I want to use this, because mostly what happened, okay, we are running with the application, right? Application is running, deployed. Okay. And when they're deployed, so maybe mostly this program file is already running on the RAM. Okay. This function we already running on the RAM. Okay. The function is already been loaded on the RAM. Okay. So for performance perspective also, okay, why to call again? Because they already loaded this program file is already there on the RAM or the resources, because the application is running already. So why don't we use this? It will save the time, or give the reference to, we can call the same thing again. And there may be many more things. I don't want to focus much about it, right? But this is a good way, what I'm talking about, to create a different file of it. Okay, different file, and add more function. Call the same function is pre-created, so you don't have to worry about creating the code. We use the same function pre-created, but we'll create one more function on the top of this, so we can annotate more things. Okay, so so it is like this. And now in the future, now anybody from the internet, from other application, okay, if they want to now use and find my information about students and to get and put something like this, they use the API or the URL. But in this case, neither this pre-created blueprint class, neither my pre-created repository who is handling the data, we don't have to touch these guys. We create a separate file who is only responsible for exposing the resources or managing the resources or implementing the security for these guys. Okay. And that is the reason we use the name normally resource, because they're giving the resources to our customers, to the consumers, to the other programs. Okay. So now we can very easily handle the resources. What resources you want to expand or share and do the things. So the file name could be anything, class name could be anything, but this is again mostly the standard name in the market we use. Okay. Resource file. So there's a resource for someone. Obviously, resource is always for someone, right? And is in the REST API world here. Okay. So that's what we can do. Now, how can we do this? It means now onward, we have 3 files. Okay. This file, now I'm not going to touch, working great. This file, I'm not going to touch, working great. There's no REST, even though let me remove also, I forgot to remove this. There's no annotation. It's a pure plain text Java file. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file here. In the same folder, I'm going to create a new Java code file. Okay. And this will be again student name resource. Okay. So this file I'm going to create. And obviously, guys, when you create the file, automatically your class file also being created. Okay. Now this file we use only for expose purpose as a resource for the customer. But okay, in this file, what we are going to do, we're going to use these functions, get student all, count student all. It's already created. We want to use this, or I can say we want to inject this. Okay. So if you want to inject this function, okay, so what you have to do, okay, your repository file, we have a lot of method function managed under this class. Okay, I can say this is my entire application project, and this entire application, this is one of the main file. So what I can do, I can share this file, I can share this class, so other guys can use it. Where I can share in my entire application. Okay, for this, you have to convert this class into a bean that's called EJB, Enterprise Java Bean. And for this, Okay, there's one annotation we have to use that is called application scoped annotation. Okay, so this is the annotation we have to use. Just by using this annotation, this file is shareable in your entire application. Only in this, any other class can use this. This class means the class method inside this class. Okay, it's like a shareable application scoped. Okay, and more, lots of things that has been added, because by adding this class, okay, there's some kind of life cycle they manage. So because this annotation comes from Quarkus actually. Okay, so what Quarkus has done, they will manage the life cycle of this class. What are these? Again, it's not point to be discussed, but one thing is, as soon as your application load on the top of Quarkus framework, they start managing this. Okay, or they start putting this guy till the time your application is running. So as the application load, they automatically start this. They load all the function on the RAM. Okay, till the time, and all the function will be there on the RAM till the time this application, your code or application Quarkus is built up. And many more things they do. Okay, just by adding these things. The main thing, what according to our requirement is just by putting this annotation, your pre-created resource, so repository, being shareable. Okay, that's a simple way to understand. So that this function we can inject somewhere, we can use somewhere. How to use, I'll show you. Okay, so this concept, guys, is given by the Quarkus. Not only Quarkus is there in the Java. Okay, but if you want to use this concept, then they get this concept is technically known as CDI in the Java world, context and dependency injection. Okay, because we are injecting something here from other file. So this concept is very big concept in Java. So this technically known as CDI, context and dependency injection. Okay, and if you see this page, okay, so in the Quarkus, okay, this context and dependency injection, Quarkus does not support complete CDI. Okay, but Quarkus has something, whatever we need in this framework, they have this. So Quarkus dependent injection from the library called ARC. Okay, so guys, don't ask me about CDI. Again, we are not purely in this discussion of beans and EJB and all the things. But what I explained to you in a simple term, the simplest way I can explain to you, whatever method we have in this file, I want to use here in other file, so I can do something more on it. This simple thing you can think in this way is like a share. Okay, we can do with CDI, and with here the software name in the CDI is just a concept. In Java is a kind of specification actually. It's just kind of plan standard. But in the Quarkus we can do with the ARC. So right now, in the Quarkus, if you see, because any library we normally install with Maven, so in the POM file, okay, this library is there, ARC. Because of this library, we can do DI, especially not CDI, it's very DI, dependency injection. What injection we'll discuss in a minute when I do the demo. Okay, from this library. Okay. And in one thing in the dependency library, we have capability, means this library gives this capability, this annotation they give us. Okay, they give to us. Okay, and because of this annotation, this pre-created repository has been shared to other part of the application, and many more things they give you. Okay, so one more small line I want to say: anybody who have registered with 378 training from Red Hat. Okay, it's a microservice Quarkus. So there's one small discussion we have here is, so there's a multiple different scopes we have. Okay, One, if you make any class applicant scoped, it become the beans. Okay, so that anything you create from this class, okay, anywhere you use this class, and obviously guys, if you use any class, it become object. Maybe you can just use the word bean. They will be live throughout the applications. All the method will be shared. All the method will be shared. Okay, and they remain up till the application is run. It's like there's two more scopes we might discuss somewhere if you need. But application scope, okay, is what I trying to explain you here in very rough definition, but this is much we need to understand here. Okay, so this is one thing. Some more thing, guys, about JAX we are using. We'll discuss more about it in this world of RESTful or REST APIs. Okay, here I'm talking about a little bit about DI. Okay, because this is how we manage the things, right? Because whenever you see future in the microservices world, you know, injections is very commonly thing. Okay, I can say converting your class into beans by this is very commonly seen. So I just want you guys to be comfortable on. Okay, so this is what I done. So technically, this code is already there in the corporate world. Okay, whichever method you want to use in other classes, other file. Okay, just add this. That's all. Now Quarkus will do the remaining part. Quarkus will keep on monitoring whichever class has been annotated with this application scoped. Okay, so they keep this class on the memory RAM forever till the time application running, and just share all the object in this application only. Okay, so we can use here. Now, how can we use here? Okay, for this week, that class we have to inject. So here there's a different file, right? There's a different file. In this file, the class name is what? Student repository. So here we can inject the student repository. Okay, how to inject? For this, we again have an annotation. This is called inject. Okay, so in the inject repository we'll use. Okay, I believe from first one, right? JSX inject we have to use. Get to use. Okay, and what we are going to inject? We're going to inject this file, or this class name is almost the same thing. And obviously, if you want, it's like a kind of data. And guys, if you want to store any data, you need some variable. Let's say we're injecting the variable called X. Okay, so X is the reference. Okay, or I can say X is the one who know where this file located, where this class located. So X know how to go to this file and get all the resources or repository or function from this guy. Okay, or maybe we can give a better name to the X. Okay, let me give the name, let's say repository. It's just a variable, you can give anything, does not matter. That's why, guys. So entire code, okay, entire code, as soon as application run, this entire class will load all the applications. So entire method started. So that means they load on the RAM. Okay, where the load, Quarkus is tracking this. They keep there directly on the process on the RAM, and this variable know where they are because we injected this class where in other class. So this is exactly what we have did, right? That's what I explained to you. Okay, so in this class we injected this with the Quarkus with library called arc, and this called dependent injection. That's what I implemented here. You might have given some example also, maybe here, maybe inject. So we write this and we inject here. So this class I inject in other class. Okay, now entire method in this class we can call here. So now everything is now very simple. Now what I can do here, I can create any function name, right? So the function name, whatever, normally you create a function like a method. Okay, for example, I want to use this function, count all student. Okay, they will count the things, right? I use this function, but this function I will put in one other function. Okay, let's say my count or annual count, for example. Okay, and we put inside this. And obviously this function will return two things. Okay, and that's all. The point here is, if you see this error is coming up, red color error. Okay, this file say count all student. I don't know where it is. Who know where this count all function is? This variable. This variable is reference to this class injecting here, this class is here, this function is here, right? So this variable know where it is. So if you take the mouse here, they say I don't know where it is. Okay, so you have to tell this function is there in this repository. So you write this syntax. Okay, this is how it works. Okay, now it means just by using this variable, we can call any of the method. Okay, all the method can be injected here, I can say, in this class. Okay, again, we have the error come up. This is just an error because of the this keyword public, and because this function is going, because this function is written here. Okay, and this function is actually going to return integer, so obviously you have to write integer type here. That's all. Done. Okay, so guys, finally, this is how I started, right? So this resource is a different file we created because our plan to extend our application. We had to add a lot of new facilities, what we need in microservices, security, APIs. So all the methods we have, rather than changing here, we inject everything here in this variable and we're calling it. And here we give a new name, or same name also we can give here if you want to give. Okay, that will be your choice. But why we are doing it so? Because here this function I want to expose with REST API. But I don't want to change here. Without touching this code, I can update here. Now, whatever you do till now, we can add. Okay, for example, I want to expose with get. Okay, I want to expose this guy with a path called as a class count. Okay, I want to produce this guy. This is what we discussed already in the media type called print text. Okay. Now, after we call, so you can think in this way, all the complexity is here. The entire code, business logic is here. We don't have to worry about. Here, we're just adding annotations and more and things, security, all the things. Things will be very simple and manageable also. You can think in this way also. Okay. That's how we are doing it. I think guys, you got the idea. What is content, or I can say dependency injection here. Okay, or maybe because this file, it means somebody come to this path, they will call this function. But if somebody want to come to this method, first they have to come to this class. So this class also gave you to give path, right? Okay, you have to give the path $path. Let's say this is API. I can give the name API only. Okay, so this is API. So anybody comes to select API, says count, they will get these details. Okay, so this is exact output gonna come up, but this is how what we have did. We just adding more things, remove something, adding here. It's called refactoring the application we are doing to add REST APIs, and then slowly microservices. Okay, so that's all. So let me run this code. Where's my readable file? So let me run this code. Yeah, or maybe you can use this command, maybe in compile Quarkus dev. Okay. So now onward, guys. Okay. Any class definition, your blueprint will put in a file like student Java, person.java, employer.java. What I want to do on those data, where the data is. Okay, we have a repository file. Okay, they're the one who know where the data is and all the things. Any resource you want to add on this functionality, we will have a resource file like a API, all things. Okay, so this is running. Sorry. Now we'll go to this URL. This Quarkus, and if you go to /API, this is a class. We have a count function now, and now this count function is going to output right, perfectly fine. They're working great, right? So this is how the thing work, right? And it's very important because why is it important? If you guys going for this examination 378 is very, very powerful examination, right? So they give you lots of pre-created applications. Okay, then you have to migrate it, or you have to add resources. You don't have to write this code. You don't have to write this code. Okay, even though you don't have to write this code also, but here, based on the explanation, you to inject the things from here and there, and then add the annotation. And in the real world also, if some companies have running with some kind of application, like monolithic to microservices, or without multiple other applications also, if they want to add more extensions and facilities, maybe some framework, maybe Quarkus, and it is same concept other framework also. Okay, then you should know this kind of structure and plan. This will help you, okay, to add functionality on it. Okay, otherwise remaining thing is same. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create quickly 2 more functions here, because I have 1 more function called get all student. Okay, so I'm going to call this function. This function is there in my repository. Let me do this. Get all student. I'm going to put inside the function, let's say Linux world all student is just a function name. I'm putting inside this. Sorry, and we are going to return. And this function is there in another function. So my repository know this where they are. What is repository? This variable. Okay, and because this function is there in this file, whoever created this function, they say they are going to return a list of students. So let me copy this access modifier and the return type from here. That's all. Working great, right? No error. But my plan here to expose this, guys, the way I exposed in my last class. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to expose this guy with under get. That's all. Okay, that's what I want to expose it. If I don't give a path here, because when you expose, guys, you always give the path. Okay, if you don't give the path, okay, what happened? Here I give the path. I will come to says count, then run this function. But if I don't give the path here, so what happens? So let me go here. If I slash count, they open. If I slash API, okay, guys, they give the output. So if you don't give any function a path, they automatically become like a home page for your respective class. It means if anybody come to this path, that is, you give your program file name or class file name. Okay. So what they do, the match, this is slash count. It means slash API slash count. What they see is no path. So this path automatically become this path. It's like a home page. Okay, slash API is like a home page. Therefore for you. Okay, so maybe if you want to do this, that's also sometime very useful. Okay. And obviously, if you don't give, then if you want to give, you can give it. There's a different point. So path, let's miss less all. Okay, this also you can give. Okay, so there's one thing, and or maybe you can give better name, let's instead of all, I can say students. See, these are the students we have. Now, in this case, anybody now come here? There's no any method. We don't have any home page kind of things. This is what they give the error. But we have this API students. So this will come up. Okay, and one more last thing very quickly, let me do. Even though let me also produce this thing, because here we don't have produce. By default, they're producing in the JSON because my browser treat this as JSON. But let me produce this as a JSON. Okay. And let me do one more last thing. We have a function called get student. Okay. So same function we are calling as a get student here. Okay. And in the get student function, okay, we are going to run this function and return when we call this function, let's say Linux world student get. Okay, this obviously there's not a better name to write. Okay, but then we give it randomly. And so this function we run. Okay, how? Again, we'll use the same return type what I used yesterday in my this code. And this get student is actually come from the repository. Okay, but understand one thing, guys. When you call a function, okay, we need to give the input. Okay, so we have to give some input here. We can't declare this ID. We can give some input here. So where you take the input from? So when we call this function, this will give the input. Okay. So when we call this function, we take the input into a student ID variable pass here, and this input will send to this function. They do the same thing what they do normally. But again, from where they get the input, again, same idea, what I use in my last class. So get and not get, sorry, get, then path, we write here curly braces ID. Oh, I use X yesterday, but I can use ID. So anybody comes slash ID, or maybe I can use slash student, for example. Slash student slash one. So this one is student ID is go input here, this will give the input here, and then this function will call in this function from that file. Okay, this is how we know. But obviously, guys, any input you take, what kind of input you are getting? You're getting the input from the query string or path parameter. So this input we are taking as a path parameter. So to define here, one more address we write the way I write in the last class. It's a path parameter. Okay, and the name of the path parameter is ID. Which ID? This variable. It's my path parameter. So this input we're going here. So this exact same concept I explained in my last class. Okay. So some of the things is there we discussed already. I just want to quickly revise to you. Plus, very interesting thing how to connect the pieces together and build a proper applications we discussed, right? Now, in this application, anybody go to student, entire student gonna come up. If you go to 3, only third student gonna come up. So so output is same, but my application is properly refactored. Okay, in proper. So now it means, okay, this to file is the responsibility of my Java pure developers. And we already have this application in the real world. And this is a responsibility of us. Okay. Maybe this part also you can write. It's a very simple thing. You can just call the same function again and again. But this is the main part, is your responsibility to get entire application form here by sharing it, inject. Okay. And then how you want to annotate, how you want to expose. Keep on adding those things, what we discussed from last couple of classes. Okay. So this is what your responsibility is. Okay. Some more thing we can do. Okay. This injection we're doing on the class that we build or my developer build. And whatever the functions they have, we can use. We can use this function only. But some class is already pre-given by what I say, by Java or by Quarkus, I can say especially. That also we can inject. We don't have to have in our code. Okay. Again, we can use inject there. Okay. We have one class we already have, it's called logger class. Logger. Okay. So this class, logger class. So what logger class will do? Okay, it will create a log. Let me create the logger file in the variable called L, or let me give a logger variable called logger. This is a variable name. Okay. So this class is created by somebody else. Okay. We're injecting directly here. Okay. And where the class is, this variable no. This is like a reference to this class. Okay. Or this is can be kind of a kind of maybe object of this class. You can think of this way. Or bean of this class. They can think of this way. Okay. Now we can use this logger where you want to use. Logger is just a way to log something. For example, if somebody call this class, how they call? By this URL. So what I want, anybody come on this URL. Who come? Client, customer come. Okay. Count. Actually, my code is not complete. So we have some error here. I don't know where. 1 minute. 1 minute. Let me comment this line. So this logger has given error. Maybe I don't know, let me check. So what I'm trying to do is, let me try to complete this code first. So what we want, if anybody come to this what I say, this URL or API, okay, I want they will contact to your server, app server, let's say the Quarkus, and they will generate the log. Okay, for this we can use this logger function. So here inside the class we can use this logger keyword. Okay, and this keyword give you option to generate log. So there's a info function, a multiple way they can get the log. Okay, so logs, maybe I can say you know, as somebody count, and we given them count of student at this time. We can write a time function here at this time, and this output we give them. Okay, something like this we can give this information, dot. Okay, so they will create for you. Now what happened? Okay, when anybody come to this URL, okay, build fail, maybe guys this logger function might not be there, or might not be supported, whatever the library would. But I'm just giving this idea. It's not again so much important. Or maybe let me try inject logger. Maybe they have a different classes here. Logger. I think that I loaded this one, but I think this might not support it here. I think JBoss has also one kind of logger. Let me try from this library. Okay. Let me try. So now if somebody come and get the output, but this is the client side, but server get a log. They come to know somebody call this URL or somebody call a function, same thing. And server side, the log generated, and logger normally print the log on the black screen or terminal. So if you see here, there's a black terminal in the server, and here they printed we have something come from the student. Okay, it means we know we detected somebody come here, we call this function, we detected this, and we print this log. Okay, so that's also way injector. This is just one quick example, nothing much. We can create a more logger in other also. So this function also create a log. We can store the log in file and many more things we can do. Again, for the admin participant, good practice. Okay, rather than create the entire code for the log, we can inject pre-created, classes here and directly use their capabilities. Okay, but we can only use those classes. Okay, those classes, logger classes, who share themselves. How? By this way. So logger function will be shared actually. So this might be used when reason we use this. Okay. So this is one topic I wanted to explain you today. So you will see guys in upcoming classes. Okay. We will use the code. We manage class separately, repository separately. Okay. We won't focus much about the complexity of the code here that's been done by the Java guys. We already write. This is our duty to share it. And then our duty will focus on only in this file. Okay. Write a function, expose it for get, post, and whatever security we want to implement in the future. That's what we will do of other things. Okay. Now let's take one more small topic. Might be sometime very useful. Okay. So topic guys, name I would like to take right now is something like this. So sorry. So right now, okay. This is what client is seeing. Okay, what client is saying? The output. How we know, for example, this is the application we created, the function we created. Okay, and function is exposed to this endpoint or to this route. Okay, how we know this code is working fine. Okay, to check this, we test it. How we test? We just come to the browser, test from here, or maybe we can go to command line, the curl command, and we can test from here. We have the connectivity, and we got the output is tested. We got the output is tested. But how you know this is working fine? Because they give the output. But it's not about only they give the output. Okay, are they giving the right output or not? In this case, yes, they're giving the output 4. Why you know it is 4 output is right? Because you are the one who created this code. We know when we call this function, they call this function. When they call this function, they will give the count here. Okay, size, and we know the count of students we have 4. So we know because this code we have created. Okay, so we have this information. So because we have this information, so we now pretty sure that there's no bug in the code and code is working fine. Okay, right now this is a small application. You can test by yourself. But as we progress, multiple developers work together, join together, then there's a possibility you plan this code, just give the output 4. Okay, but somebody change the functionality, okay, and the code is not working the way it should work. Okay, and again testing again and again is very hard. So what I want to do, I want my test to be automated. I don't want to test in this way. For example, there's one more example. Let me take here. For example, if I write student 3, okay, how I know this output is right? Maybe I'm searching for 3, they give the output 4. Maybe I'm searching for 3, they give me a different course name, different student name. Or maybe I'm searching for 3 here, they give me output. For example, right now, if you search, right click, inspect in this browser, go to networking tab. Okay, and let me refresh this page again. Okay, if you see here, they give the output. They give the output. Okay, how they respond, they give this output. In which format? JSON format. You want to see the header also. If you can see here in the header, the content type is JSON. Okay, it's JSON. Why JSON? Because we write in the code. Right? I want the output in JSON. I think they're taking by default JSON, but let me write. Let's say I want to take the output in JSON. Media type JSON. But I want output in JSON only. Here I want output in count in text only. Okay, and how you know this output is coming? Because we know this get bigger output. Because guys, whenever you open any website, okay, how we know website is open successfully? Because we know status code 200 come up, okay come up. Status code 200 come up, okay come up. It means they are successfully come up. The data come up, whatever we requested. So after seeing all this information that, okay, we got 100, 200 messages, or okay message, or we got the output in JSON format, we got this output, what we're looking for. We know the course ID in Java only. After we saw all the things, now we are pretty sure that output is coming right. But this is a very small application, right? There's tons more things we want to check sometime. So checking by yourself is called testing by yourself is very hard. So what we can do, we can automate this test. Okay, and how can we automate this test? By writing some test cases. Okay, and Quarkus give you a better quick way to writing the test cases. So Quarkus again is a framework that give a capability to, again guys, we are not into testing training. Testing is itself a long topic. I'm just trying to write something because it will help you. Okay, why they help you? But in the real world, whenever you see any project, they already have the test cases by the test team. So whatever you write and do and changes here, okay, your test thing is working fine or not. Okay, think working fine or not. So technically you can think in this way. Test case will decide what a code you write is right or not. Okay, this concept called test driven approach. Okay, or test driven development, TDD. So what happened? Okay, what happened in the testing world? There's a TDD, test driven development. Okay, where sorry, where in the programming practice we tell the developer to write a code according to test fail. Again, this is long discussion, but technically somebody give you instruction that we will test for the student free. You should got the output Java. You got the status code 200. Okay. Your return type would be JSON. Okay. So this is what we're looking for. This is our final goal, or this is what how I test. Accordingly, you create a code. And for this, they don't speak, they will write a code that's called test cases in some language, in some framework. Okay. So which framework they use, that will be their choice. Okay. Their choice. But there's one more great framework that we can use to write this test cases called REST Assured. Okay. So REST Assured is the library. Okay. Especially for the REST API world, where we can write the test cases. Okay, so point here is, okay, right now we're testing ourselves manually. Fine, but I want rather we test my test cases like a code. A code will test. And guys, REST Assured is very powerful library. Okay, work in a declarative way and very simple also. write the test cases here. Okay, and they have their own DSL language, kind of declarative language. Okay, to quickly write the code. I'll show you some example in a minute. Okay, plus if you go to examination also at Red Hat, so they give you one task. Okay, and they give you test cases also. You don't have to type there. You run the test cases. Okay, and if the test case run, it means your whatever setup you've done is right. Okay, so that's what we do in the examination also, and that's what in the real world also we do. Okay, so let me show you as a, even though it's not a part of your training program, guys, writing the test cases. Okay, I'm just giving you extra knowledge so you can have clarity. Plus, you can add some more thing on the top of this if you want. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me write one quick test case. But for this, I'm using rest assured, and Quarkus has rest assured. Quarkus don't have, but rest assured is one extra library that we had installed. How we can use POM. Okay, and we can add one more dependency. By chance they have, because this is what mostly we use with Quarkus. So we already have. And we use this library for the test cases. Okay, and they also use it is one kind of, because in test cases, what kind of test case you want to perform? A unit test, integration test. For this, we has one kind of framework we have called JUnit we use. We'll talk a little bit about it if you want. Again, we also want this. So this two library we need for running the test cases and writing the test cases. Okay, so what happened? So let me write the code. An interesting thing is, whenever you create a Quarkus project, okay, they write the test cases for you. Okay, the based upon the initial application, Hello World application they created. Okay, so test cases normally. Okay, so if you see SRC folder, okay, SRC folder contain, guys, two main folder, main folder and test folder. So entire application's code, what you're writing here, we manage into the main folder in the Java folder here. Okay, but if you want to write test cases, we have a separate folder for test folder. Same hierarchy we see here, but this folder again same Tom here. Here we write the test cases. Okay, here we write the test cases. So if you just double click, so some test cases pre-created for us. Okay, and this test cases, guys, is based on in the initial project we created, right? I changed a lot of things in my project, but initially they give you some hello example. So they create this test case for you just for testing purpose. Okay, and this test case also, I think something initial file they created. This is for, again, for that purpose. Okay, so what I'm going to do, let me use this file. Okay, and let me create some test cases. Okay, so let me take one single example. So what I want to do here, okay, I want to do something like this. Okay, so what I want to test this. Okay, let me take the example, very simple example. Let me take this one, same example. So I want, as soon as somebody come on this URL. Okay, so I want anybody come on this URL. Okay, they get this output. So I want to test this. I tested already, but this is called manual testing. I want this test to be automated. Okay, it's called automation testing. Okay, and anything in automation we write a code. So what I'm expecting from this endpoint, okay, I'm expecting multiple things. First, I'm expecting behind the scene. Okay, they will send the data in the text plane. Behind the scene means internally, it's called header. So if you see here, inside this, inspect, in networking, let me refresh this page again. Okay, so what I expect from here, when they return the header, means the HTTP internally will send the header. What they send in the header? They send the content type plain. Why I'm expecting this? Because I need this. And because I need this, that is the reason I write in the code. I write in the code in my resources. Okay, I need in text plain. Why? Because finally my consumer is going to use in the text string format. Okay, so this is my requirement is that's what I want to test on. Okay, second thing I test on, if I go to this URL, okay, how I want to go get. So if I go and use the get method on this URL called API account, then it should work. And what it work, they return me what 4 here as a count. Okay, plus one more thing I want, they return me status code successful. What they give me okay message or 200 SS. So guys, this is what I manually text check. And if everything is work fine, then I say my test is done manual and it is giving me right answer. Okay, but same thing I want to do, same thing I want to achieve, want to see how automatically, how to test automatically. So I would write an auto test. And for writing test, we write a code. And for writing the code, we are using Quarkus here. Okay. So we are writing in this project, in this file. Okay. For writing the code, again, we have to write a class. And here we annotate with the Quarkus test. So this is a Quarkus test we are doing. And in this class, we write a method. So whenever we do test, this method will run. How I know with this will run? We write one more annotate here, test. Any method that we write with test, that will run for us. Okay. So this method will run for us. Okay. Good practice is because running the test for which function? I'm running the test for this function, count function. Where's count? This function. So in good practice, if you're running the test for this function, so in the test also give the function the same name. Okay, same name. And we can start the function name with test, or we can also start the function name with should. We should test this. Okay, so we have to do this. I can give the other name also, it should work. Okay, so point here is whenever tests are code, okay, Quarkus automatically run this file, this class file. Quarkus will manage the test for you. There are multiple methods you can write. All the method that has been annotated by test, they will run. Only they will run. We can add more methods here in this file for some reason. Okay, and here what we have to do. Okay, here we have to do something like this. Okay, I say for testing, let me remove this code. Okay, I am giving you, when you go to the URL, we will give you something. It's called given function. What they will give the header. In the header, what they give you is accept text plain. That's what they give you. It means they give you the header where they give you your written, the way I explained to you, text plain format. That's what they give you. Okay, let me take this. More action. and we don't need this. We'll see in a minute. Okay, this is what we are looking for. Okay, I'm guys writing this dummy code here. We'll add something. This is what we're looking for. Okay, then what I want to do, when they give this text plain or JSON format, when they give, so it's like a given. They give this, when they give, this is not proper format. I'm just giving this high level idea. When they give, when you go to this URL, how you go with the get method. So when you go via get method, okay, then they will give the text, response. Which URL you go? You go API count. How you know? Because you are the one who created this. Okay. And then when you go to this URL, then what you achieve? Then what you found? Okay. Then what you found? Okay. You found body content. This is 4 is one body content. You find some body content. And body content, what you found? You found 4 as a string. Or anything that you found here. Yes. After you go here, you also found one more thing. This is called status code. Status code. What status code you found? I show you guys 200 or the 2. Okay. Status code. Okay. Something like this. This is how we write the code. Okay, this is how we write the code. So we can just make it this code little bit more crispy in the proper structure format, then it will work. Okay, we can add more functionality on the top of this, right? So let me properly write this code, right? So this I can show you. This one is not part of program, but let me show you. So this is the structure actually. Okay, so let me convert this code in a proper way. So given is a fun function here, and given say when they give me header, so accept this header. So we actually this accept come from a method called RestAPI header, HTTP format headers. Okay, injects res dot accept. Now it's gone, right? And what we get this beta type, text plain or JSON, whatever you have. Okay, and this dot means this is one single big code, right? So there's one function, then this function, chain function. So rather than I'm writing the same chain function continuously, I'm giving enter here to have my code a little bit more formatted. Okay. So when you, even though let me use dot here, can properly format. They're not going here. Doesn't matter. So when it has been given, 1 minute. When you got the text plain, but when you send the get request to this URL. Okay, so this is a path you have to use. So let me use the get one more time. So in the when dot get. So this is a get function. If you see, they are having. Okay, so let me use this get function. And what is your URL? Your URL would be, let's say, API/count. This is the URL we have. Okay, I don't need this. I don't know why this line come from. This line is actually close here. Okay, this is what why. Then after get, then what do you want? Okay, then you will go to body part. Okay, and see are they sending 4 or not. So actually you have to check is they sending 4 or not. So there's each function actually here. is they're sending value 4 or not. Okay, if they're sending 4, same time also check the status code. Okay, are they sending status code okay or not? Okay, here the status code will be okay, or let's say it's a number, actually code is number to 200 in semicolon. So I write multiple dot promote. So now that's for look code, right? It's more look at coding, but it's more like a declarative, right? This is exactly what we do manually, right? That's what we do manually. Okay. So my point here is, the point here is, in this app, in the test folder, okay, we create this test case, is normal Java code like class. We say this class is not for the normal application, right? Not for expose. It is only for test. Quarkus will manage the test. In one class, there's multiple methods. Multiple methods we have. Okay, so Quarkus will manage this method, okay, or will run this method when we ask for the test. And how we ask for a test, I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, but when this function will run for testing purpose only, then this function will do these things. We'll tell this function that we are giving you that whatever you are going to test, their header should be plain text, not JSON. Okay, and when you reach to this URL, which URL? This API account URL. Okay, and when you reach, then you will find the value should be in the string format 4, and they will set the status code 200, means properly website will be up. This kind of test case we write. How we write this test case? In a framework called, Rest Assured is library. Okay, now how we will run this test case? Okay, how we run this test case? Okay, so this test case, guys, would be run by Maven. So Maven is one tool we can use for compiling, for running the code, downloading the software, managing the libraries. So Maven is the one who will do everything for you. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, let me stop this application here. This is how we compile and run. But here Maven, okay, has a capability to run the test case. How? By using this keyword test. That's all for you. So by this, we are asking Maven, go to this project, and inside the test folder, wherever you have test, there's an annotate by test or method, go and call it and run for us. Okay, so Maven is scanning your project. Okay, if they found any test, this is called test cases. So this is, guys, one test case. Okay, so Maven will run this test case for you. Okay, because we are running the test case first time. So for test cases, whatever library we need, they're downloading. Okay, and guys, right now this test case, like I said, the test or the test, and we are running the test code for this class. Why only this class? Because this is annotated by Quarkus test. So this class they are running test, and in this class they are running test for this particular method. We have more. Why? Because we annotated with this test. Interesting thing is here test run successful, right? Okay, it means we see here the test is a result. So inside this class, what are tests we have? How many tests we have? Only one, right? Because we have one method equal to one test. So this is called test case we run, and they're successful. Okay, why? Because what we are testing, it exists, right? We're asking when we go to this URL, give me 4 count. Okay, so what we are expecting is there. But let's say we are asking when you go to this URL. Okay, when you go to this URL, I am expecting 5. So my testing team create this plan and developer work out accordingly. But according to testing, they identify, but developer write the code, they say, no, it's, other number come up. So test fail. So what they do, developer will write the code in such a way that test will pass. So not always test code is always right, but test is like a plan. This is what we want to achieve from the application. Because it's called test driven development. So we write the test, this is what we are achieving. So achieve this according to write the code. So there are people writing the code, they keep on testing the code. Okay. And the test pass, this means whatever the task given to us is done. So they're in this code and here. Guess here, the fail is there. So we see a build failed, test run fail. So one test we run, but one is failed. This was a lot of error going to come up. Okay, so again, they also say expected is 5, actually is 4. In this function, they fail. Okay, because body part does not match, everything is matching. Either we change in the code or we can change the test cases. Right now I'm changing here. Again, let me run this. Right. So like this, we have multiple test cases you write. But in this case, okay, if you write a test case per classes, this one class, maybe some function my particular class want to check. Then this is called unit testing. Per unit we're checking. But right now we're testing the entire application. We are running this file also, this class also, this class also, all together run. Then only guys my application host, right? Then we run. So technically we're testing the entire application. Obviously, because after application run, then only URL work. Then only this URL work. So this is called integration testing. Okay. So if you want to test integration testing, if you want to test unit testing, then we need some kind of framework that give me capability to run this test. So that framework guys is called JUnit. Okay, so Java JUnit, there's other framework also, but JUnit is a framework for the testing in the Java world. It's a framework for testing. Okay, but this test annotation comes from the JUnit, and there's even in the POM file we also install Quarkus JUnit plugins also. Okay, that's what we use here. Okay, so but yeah, test fail. Sorry, pass. Sorry. So this worked fantastically fine. Okay, so this means what we planned for the project has been done. Okay, so we can run a normal Maven compile and do the things. Okay, so they are running normal Quarkus launch in the dev moment. Okay, so Maven, I think you got much more idea about Maven. Maven will be happy to compile the code, run the code, download the libraries, dependencies, test the thing, all the things we can do with the help of Maven. Okay, that is the reason, guys. This is the Maven personal configuration file POM. So that is the reason. Whenever you give any library name, we can define the scope also. Okay, how? A library name we define here. Scope test. It means in the Maven command, whenever you use the test keyword, only this library loaded and help take this library for the test purpose. Again, this is not Maven train. These are multiple scopes we have, but this is what we write here as scope. So now your project started working fine. Even though guys, this project also give you option here R to resume test. So when you run this normal command, they skip the test, they pause the test. But if you run R, they start. See here, the automated test starts. So while Quarkus also give this capability on the real time, also we can test here, test pass. So you don't have to, run the Maven test command also. This is what typical command we have. So after launch the project dev in a moment, on the real time, you keep on changing the code, keep on testing, keep on running, right? R rerun, the test will rerun and they will check one test we have, it's been run. So it was working great. Okay, so test is a big field. I think but you got the idea. We don't have this testing training over here, but I just want to show you because when you go for examination also, they give you pre-tested, right? You just use maybe command R to check what the question you're performing is right or not. If test case fail, it means something you miss. If right, it means that question is right. So this is one of the good examination, right? In the Red Hat. If you guys ever give any examination Red Hat, you never come to know what you did right or not. After exam result come up, then you come to know. But this is very, very unique exam. If you go for examination of Red Hat, then there they give all the test cases. After going any questions, every question you test it. If they give the answer right, it means that answer is right. So you'll get, already final what kind of results you will achieve. Okay, I'm talking about this Red Hat, what the exam would be. Okay, so guys, I think you got the idea. So now onward, I'm talking about, I don't know which exam, Quarkus exam I'm talking about. So guys, you got the idea. So now onward, okay, main thing is the way we're going to plan our projects is this way, not this one. Here it is. This file, and this file. Our focus would be on a resource file always. Okay, the repository file will always go and application scope. Okay, in this file, we'll do all the annotation part, whatever we need. Okay, so this is almost a kind of proper application has been building, right? So that's all, guys. I'll share this code to you guys. A lot of concept I covered today. I'll share this code to you. Okay, and practice this. I suggest don't directly copy paste, does not make any sense. I build everything step by step, right? Same way you can try to build it by looking at this code, then practice it. We'll go on more deep into this topic and lots of functionality we're going to add. Okay, one more thing, guys, I want to tell you, those especially who are doing the system design training with us, a lot of training, guys, is going on right now for you. I think we have also already messaged you. OpenShift is also going, guys. We have given to you, not the complete OpenShift, some part of OpenShift, because finally our microservices we are going to deploy from the Quarkus to the OpenShift. So you should know OpenShift. So this training is going on weekdays. Some class will give access to you guys. Okay, DSA class is going on, guys, from last couple of weeks. Okay, it's again very important for system design, guys. Why? Because if you don't know how to plan for the classes, inheritances, and all the things, and how to properly plan for the structures and the algorithm, you won't be able to design your entire system well. Okay, so low level designs perspective, you should know the DSA. Same time, C++ and Java also, guys, we are providing to you. Okay, because without programming, you can't do much in the DSA, plus object-oriented plans and object-oriented programming like inheritance and encapsulation and object-oriented programming we are discussing there. Okay, this microservice is still going on here, and I don't know which all other. So these are multiple things is going on in parallel, and we have already intimated you multiple times in your respective group. This is what the training we have provided to you, or we are providing to you. So you should be there. Otherwise, okay, as we progress in this course in the future, when I show you how to integrate Quarkus with OpenShift, and we do a better plan design for maybe microservice or some other things, we need some data structures like graph, for example, or we need some kind of object-oriented concepts. So if you miss this class, you're not able to link the concept, right? So I'm building entire block for you, step by step. Building multiple blocks to build the concept for you, I can say. So don't miss this class. Yeah, if you know DSA, C++, Java, there's a different point. There's a different point you can skip. But otherwise, highly suggest to go for this classes. I don't know, there might be some more things we have asked you to join and to learn, we are providing to you, right? Either as a recorded class, or maybe we ask them to come online. Okay, I'm talking more about the one who are there in our system design training. Okay, and obviously microservice is going on here. There's a different point. So that's all, guys, from my side. Any query if you have, you guys want to ask me, you can ask me. Niharika, Kafka will start in some time, maybe in a month. We don't need right now, but we'll start soon. Yeah, Amit, injection is more like an import, but there's much more thing injection can do for you. Okay, right now this example is more look like an import. Same thing we can achieve with import, but import never manage the state or the sessions. Okay, what I mean by this, maybe in upcoming some classes we might discuss about sessions and the state or the events, life cycle. There's a lot of things there. Okay, but injections will perform this for you. What are those? We will discuss. So, but what you see today more look like import, but it is not. This is not the only thing injection will do for you. Okay. So in Microsoft, we are working only one Quarkus. I don't understand, Sachin, if you can ask your question, what context you're talking about. No, no, Anuj, object you can't share, right? Okay, object is like a data. Okay, there's no meaning to share the data. Okay, right now today's inject mode look like a export import. We can also import the class from the typical Java way, but injection will do many more things. I can't explain you again. There's a lot of more extra things you have to explain you for this. But as you progress, I might give you some more use of the injections, right? So then you will compare. This is far different from the import that we normally do in the Java. Okay. Yes, Sakshi, you can also use ID instead of /student ID. Okay. Only difference would be if you use /student ID, only ID, then your path will be different. So right now the path would be what? /student/ID. This is the path we have. So where the application would be. So our path is /student. Okay, /this one. So you decide what path you want to give. If you don't write student here only ID, then you don't have to type student, then you write API/3. So it would be your plan how you want to give this path to a final consumer, right? So that's all, guys. Practice this code. I'll share this code soon to you. Very, very important. We build a lot of things on the top of this in the future classes, right? Bye. Good day. Take care. See you guys.